Bam. I need 3 volunteers. Can I get 3 volunteers? Come on. It's not going to hurt, okay? Mr. David Alderman, I need 2 more. It's not going to hurt. I'm telling you. There's a fan up here, but you don't stick your tongue in the fan. So I need another volunteer. Come on, I need 2 more. This isn't going to work if I just have David. David, go ahead. You can come on all the way up here and pick your own seat. Pick your own seat. I'm serious. This is not going to... Okay, Mr. Roger over here and Dean. All right, come on up. Get on up here. You guys find your seats, and this is what I want you to do, okay? I know this is going to sound insanely weird because hopefully it is weird. Hopefully you've never done this before. If you have done this before, I feel weird for you. Okay, so David, you get the handheld one, and you'll see this one has a switch right up at the top. Turn it on, okay? So when we're ready, you can turn that thing on. And then you guys, I'm going to just go ahead and turn these on now because, you know, Roger always wants a fan anyway. So you're going to have to like lean into this. Okay, so there's that. Secondly, I'm going to give each one, this is for later. Don't worry about that. Secondly, I'm going to give you each a paper towel here, and you're going to just want to hold on to this paper towel like in your lap or in front of you or maybe, you know, somewhere nearby where you can easily access it. Here you go. There's some paper for you. There you go. And then each one of you gets a cup. So we'll set that one there. Here you go. There's a cup right there. There's a cup right there, and there's a cup right there. Okay, this is what we're going to do, okay? What I want you guys to do is I want you to stick your tongues out as far as you can, then close your mouth on it, on your tongue. You know, don't bite it or anything, but just close your mouth on it. And then lean into the fan and dry your tongue. Can you do that? Okay. So huge, man. That's impressive. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so close your lips. You got to get your lips closed on your tongue. So stick it way out. Lips closed on your tongue, and then just run the fan. Yeah, just run the fan. Lean in there and get it all dried off. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to review with you where we've been over the last couple of weeks. See, we started this series called BAM because Emeril Lagasse has taught us that when you season food, you need to say BAM when you hit it with the salt or the spices or whatever it is. And we've been studying this passage that Jesus taught us from Matthew chapter 5 to try to play out what this is going to look like in our lives. And the passage will be up on your screen. It's Matthew 5:13. If you have a note sheet, you're going to want to pull that out. Get ready to take some notes. If you didn't grab a Bible earlier, I'm serious. You got to go back there and get one because we're reading a long section today. But here's this passage. You're the salt of the earth, Jesus says. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. And so we've been talking about what it means to be salt. 2 weeks ago, we learned this lesson, that because Jesus says we're salt, what that really means is it means that we are the source of the world's greatest blessing. We're the source of the world's greatest blessing. And then last week, we learned that unsalty Christians, or Christians who don't bless others, are worthless to the world. How you guys doing back here? Yeah. All right. Keep it going. You guys are doing well. Okay. Today, you're going to learn the most difficult lesson you will ever learn in your entire life. But before we get to that, we have to do a little bit of a science experiment. And that's what these guys behind us are doing. I want to show you something. I've brought... How dry is your tongue, guys? Don't talk, because that'll open your mouth and get it all wet again. But raise your hand and touch your tongue with one of your fingers. Just say, hey, is it pretty dry? Pretty dry? Okay. So, yeah, all right. So hopefully it's dry enough for this experiment to work. But this is what we're going to do. I've got some salt here. And what I'm going to do is now, they look worried, don't they? Aren't you glad you didn't volunteer? Okay, so now what I want you guys to do, if it's dry enough, let's go ahead and lean back, keep that tongue going, doing its thing, okay? Lean back just a little bit, and I'm gonna put some salt on your tongues, all right? And here's the thing. I want you to raise your hand. I want you to pay attention to the salt and really ask yourself this question: can I taste it? Okay? I'm going to start over here with Dean. Just avoid some of these things. Okay, so lean your head back just a little bit. Okay. How's it going? You all right? Okay. Let's try David down here. Lean your head back just a little bit. Let's see if this works. Okay, one more. How you doing there? Okay. Guys doing all right there? Now, what I want you to do is raise your hand and tell me from 1 to 5 how much you can taste the salt. 1 is very little, and 5 is you can taste it pretty well. 1, 3, 2. Okay. What we're going to do here, though, is I brought some water, and here's the turkey baster. Okay, you got your spit cup there, okay? And you got your towel there, okay? We're just gonna put a couple drops of water right on top of your tongue here, and then I'm all shaky for you. I'm like nervous. Here we go. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Woo! How's that going now? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you can get rid of all that if you want. Let's see what Rogers goes to. Yes. How's that going for you, Roger? Has it reached a 5 yet? Has it reached a 5? Yeah, you're 4, okay. Here we go, Dean. Lean your head back just a little bit. We'll squirt your face all over there. Okay, how's that going for you? Is that a 5 yet? Yeah, it's pretty. You guys can spit. Go ahead. Get rid of all that. Let's give these guys a hand. And just cheers. There you go. There you go. Thanks so much. So tell me real quick, before you go, Roger, tell me real quick, compare the one without any water to the one with water.
We could just take a slight taste of the salt.
Uh-huh.
It must have been some of the areas that weren't completely dry.
Uh-huh.
But then, when you added the further, it kicked it in.
Kicked it in pretty good. Yeah, and Dave's back now. How you doing, man? You survive? All right, let's give him another hand. Unsalty water, that's good. Okay, so here's the deal. I want to teach you a chemistry lesson today about salt. Did you know your tongue can't taste salt? It can't. It can only taste, here you go, are you ready? High school chemistry coming back at you. It can only taste the ions that salt is made of. Salt is made of 2 ions. It's made of sodium, it's made of chlorine. And sodium is a positive ion, and chlorine is a negative ion. And what happens is because one is positive and one is negative, like a magnet, they stick together. And so when they have the opportunity to, they'll stick together. And so when water dries out and there's salt in the water, when water dries out, these molecules get close to each other. And then when the water dries out, they stick together. And you've got salt, you've got sodium chloride. But your tongue can't taste the chlorine. Your tongue is only able to taste the sodium, and it can only taste the sodium when it is all by itself, and it's an ion, and it gets into one of your taste buds, and it makes you taste. It's the same mechanism that you can taste acid or sour things from. Salt works the same way. But here's another chemistry lesson for you. Another chemistry lesson is that when salt is in water, the ions split. Do you realize when you have salty water, you don't actually have salt in the water? What you have is you have a whole bunch of sodium ions and you have a whole bunch of chlorine ions, and they're all just swishing around in there. None of them are stuck together. They're all just swishing around in there. It's only when the water dries out that we get what we call salt, which is sodium chloride, that comes together. There's your chemistry lesson for the day, but here's where it applies to you and me. There's a blank. You can jot this down on your note sheet if you want. Salt only works when it loses itself for a greater cause. Salt only works when it loses itself for a greater cause. If you have a dry tongue and the salt is still salt, it's still stuck together, it's still in a clump, it's not going to do any work. But when the water splits it up into the different parts of it, then it can do work, then you can taste it, then you can run to the bathroom and spit it all out. But salt needs to die in order for it to do its work. Today you're going to learn the most difficult lesson you will ever learn. But before we get to that, I have to take you to another passage, the one right after Jesus talks about salt. In Matthew chapter 5, beginning in verse 14, we see the next thing Jesus said to his followers. It's on your note sheet. It'll be on the screen too. Jesus says this, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." You're the light of the world. People put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. You know, we, for the past couple of weeks, have been trying to motivate you and encourage you to realize that if you're salt, that means you're the source of the world's greatest blessing. That means you're the one who can bring amazing blessing to the people of this world. That's something that should make you feel really encouraged, really inspired, really, really glad to be who you are and glad to know Jesus. And now he goes one step further and he says, you're the light of the world. And everybody knows that light is something you want to put on a pedestal so it can shine everywhere. And I think a lot of us take this mentality that says, listen, Jesus says I'm the light. You know what that means? That means it's okay for me to think that I should be on a pedestal. That means that I am the one the world needs to see. That means that you need to recognize me for the salty and light person that I am. That means the whole world needs, Christians should be the most popular, most well-loved, richest, most significant, most pretty or handsome, the most celebrity, the most famous of all the people on the world, right? Because God wants His light to shine. Sometimes we get that picture in our minds, but real life doesn't work that way. Real life is more like you're at the bottom of the totem pole that is your career. And every step you climb up, it seems like someone else stabs you in the back and skips a step above you. Maybe you've experienced some other kind of tragedy or pain or hardship in your life, and you ask the question, God, why? Why would you let your children suffer like that? Why would you let me? I'm supposed to be the light to the world. I'm supposed to be the salt to the world. Why would you let me go through these difficult times? And why would you call me to make sacrifices? The rest of the world should be making sacrifices to get to know me because I'm the one with the light. The real world doesn't work the way we want the real world to work. See, we think of salt and light completely backwards. We think that because I'm the salt, that means I should get the benefits of the salt. Salt is valuable. Salt is flavorful. Salt has preservative effects. That means I should be preserved. That means I should get flavor in my life. That means I should be considered valuable by everybody.